So the situation with is your daughter still living in Japan with her dad?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
She moved back in 2022 and she's living with her dad and his girlfriend.
Uh-huh. So the situation with your daughter seems deeply personal. So how do you navigate such a complex dynamic while focusing on your own growth?
Yeah, well, that was quite challenging. So, what I've been doing since 2022 is spend half my time in Japan and half my time in Amsterdam. So, it would be easier for me to see her because I don't want to live in Japan full time anymore. But basically, it's really hard to come to terms with my ex about seeing my daughter. It's been quite a contentious relationship. So even when I am in Tokyo, oftentimes I still am not able to see her. So this year I finally decided, I'm not going to go and stay in Japan for months at a time because it just makes me really miserable. Um, so this year I want her to be here for the entire summer holidays so we have some more quality time to spend together. So hopefully I can get my ex to agree because that would be better for all of us involved. So I've also been calling my daughter every day, except on weekends because then she's usually busy. But every morning before she goes to school, I'll call her and she can vent and she can tell me what's going on in her life. And I'll listen to her stories and listen to her complaints about her dad and about life in general. So, yeah, that's been good. But yeah, it's tough. It's like, feels like you're cutting off this limb. And in the beginning, I felt this enormous sorrow and this like black gaping hole where my heart used to be. So yeah, it took around 2 years for me to get used to the fact that she's no longer here and I can't kiss her or hug her whenever I want to.
I can only imagine it must be so hard.
Yes.
So, if your daughter were to listen to this podcast someday,
hmm
what message would you want her to hear about your perseverance and love?
Well, what I've always been telling her is her happiness is the most important thing for me. So I will just work around it and try to make it work. Unfortunately, being in Japan just doesn't work for me. So that's something I've decided not to do anymore because I need to protect my own boundaries as well. And I felt I was stepping over my own boundaries by being there. Um, so yeah, in regards to your dreams, just never give up and always believe in your own dreams. And if you want something, you should just go for it. And if you put in all the time and the effort and don't let anyone or anything come in your way, then your efforts are going to be rewarded and end up with something beautiful.
Yeah. Nothing comes easy, right?
Exactly. Yes. You just need to keep at it every day. And if one day it doesn't go well, then that's fine. But just whenever you can, just go back to where you left things and just keep going. That's the most important thing,
Yeah.
to have that perseverance and have that strength.
What was the first steps you took to revive your business, and how did you experience your experiences shaped your new approach?
Well, basically, in 2022, around the summer of 2022, there were some rumors that the border with Japan was about to open up again. So I threw out some feelers and I started contacting all of the guys that had been working for me. Like, okay, so are you still in Japan? Do you
Mhm.
still want to work for me? What's going on in your life? And except for maybe two, I was able to retain all of the guides I had. I even hired a few new ones, started doing training sessions so everyone would be up to scratch because they've been doing other things for the past 2 years approximately. So they needed a little refresher course.
Mhm.
And then, as soon as the border with Japan opened up, of course, I also needed to contact all my partners because I work for a lot of travel agents as well who basically sell our tours as part of a product that they sell to their clients. So I needed to ask, okay, are you guys still in operation? Are you still offering trips to Japan? Um, and then as soon as the border opened up, we just were flooded with people wanting to come and people that were interested in Japan. And also during COVID, I ramped up the social media posts because I felt like, oh, I really have a lot of time now, so I should focus on that.
Mhm.
And I noticed that a lot of the groups would say, "Oh no, no, what you're doing is advertising. We don't allow that, so you cannot post in our groups." And I got so annoyed with that, so I started my own Facebook groups. One of them has around 230,000 members now.
Oh.
And I changed the names of both the groups to one is Japan Travel Advice, and I added by Tokyo Tours. And the other one is Op reis naar Japan, basically meaning travel to Japan in Dutch. And I also added by Tokyo Tours. So since I changed the names of both groups, I'm also getting a lot more business out of that as well, that people are just like, oh, I didn't know Tokyo Tours, oh, sounds interesting, yeah, let me know.
Mhm.
So yeah, that has really helped me to get back to where I am now.
That's awesome. Let's talk about, after everything that you went through, we'll talk about love and trying to find joy again. I
Hmm.
think you mentioned one of the times that we talked that your life was in a bit of shambles, right?
Yes.
How do you maintain hope and openness to love despite the past challenges?
Yeah, I started meditating and also to read up more on Buddhism. And in Buddhism they say that if you are detached from people, situations, and outcomes, then you're less likely going to get hurt. So, of course, it's good to have people in your life, but try not to have too many expectations because that is when your expectations aren't met, that's when you most likely are going to get hurt. So I've been trying to do that, like take every day as it comes. Try not to let other people upset me. Try not to get influenced by other people so I go down a spiral and they
And that's
completely.
the hardest part, right? Not to let people
Yeah,
inside our
exactly.
head.
Yeah, exactly. Then sometimes I'll just go in a tailspin and I feel miserable for a week because someone um, is influencing my mood. So I've been trying to meditate on that and try to let go and try to not let it influence me too much. And actually, I just decided to get rid of all the dating apps because in 1 week I had two guys cancel on me and say, oh, one guy was I was supposed to have a second date with, and he was like, oh, actually, I don't think this is for me, and I decided not to go through with it. And the other guy was supposed to have a first date with, and he was like, oh, actually, I need to work on myself, and I'm not open to dating after all. So we were only supposed to have a coffee date. So I was like, you can just have a cup of coffee with someone. What does it
I had
matter? What do you
I
mean?
had guys tell me that before. I should not be dating. So why are you in a dating app?
Mm,
Why
exactly.
dating app? You know? But
Exactly. It's not like you're going to get married after one cup
oh, I
of coffee or
know.
anything.
Yeah.
Like, just chill the fuck down.
I
But
know, right? But don't give up, you know. I got married 2.5 years ago. I 44. Yeah, I was 44 when I got married. Um
yeah,
as
exactly.
a friend of mine said, you have to kiss a lot of frogs until
Yeah.
you find the prince. There were a lot of frogs. So, yeah, don't give up, but it's just that I think we you go on an app date, on a dating, app.
Hmm.
And then suddenly you get shut down for whatever reason. The guy's like, "Oh, I should not be dating," or this, and that. And it's just, we just feel so much, right? You just like, you just bring this down on yourself, this guilt, like, oh my God, it was me. What did I do? What did I say? I think
Yes.
I am like that. It took a while for me. It was like, no, it's not about me. It's about them. You know,
Hmm.
his loss. You got to get to the point
Exactly.
where, like, it's his loss. He doesn't want to meet me for a coffee or whatever. Too bad, so sad for him.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you tell people, like, oh, okay, I have my own business, I have 50 people working for me, I'm doing all right, I'm making a good amount of money, I don't have to do anything else. And then when they see my social media account and how many followers I have, then suddenly I don't hear from them again. And like, I'm not that impressive. Come on. If I thought you weren't good enough for me, I would not have matched with you.
Yeah,
But
right?
apparently, a lot of guys feel intimidated when they see all that I have achieved. I'm like, it's no big deal. It's just
Yeah.
me. It's
But
nothing.
don't ever let that get in the way. Be proud of yourself. If they're intimidated, tough shit. Just, they're not for you, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So fortunately, recently I've met this really amazing guy, and he
Oh,
is
nice.
divorced with two kids. And I mean, it's still early days, but fingers crossed,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going well so far. So
That's good.
I
That's
finally had someone that was brave enough to go on a second date with me. I have not had any second dates for months now,
uh,
so I'm so
that's
happy.
great. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah. What brings you joy, fulfillment today? Even just the ongoing difficulties that you had, like current, present, right now. Like, what
Mhm.
brings you the most joy and fulfillment?
Yeah, first of all, is of course staying in touch with my daughter and being able to talk to her. I mean, if I haven't been able to talk to her for a few days, then that really deregulates my mood. So that's still something I find very difficult. But yeah, you need to have something that you can do that's just for you. So for everyone, it's something different. For me, I'll show you. I I draw and I paint. So I used to draw or paint something every 2 weeks or so. So this is what I'm working on right now.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Thank you. So I
Very
just draw
good.
something for my daughter and write something on the back. It's more personal than a postcard, and then send it to her.
But that is really
So
good. Wow.
thank you. Yeah, yeah. She was asking why don't I receive anything from you anymore? So I've been getting back into painting and doing artwork, and it really relaxes me. And
That's
I try to go to the gym as often as possible because I realize that that also really helps with my mood if I'm a bit active and I can work out a bit. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, for everyone it's different. Like some people like to go on walks, other people like singing or dancing or meeting up with friends,
Yeah,
but this is what helps for me.
that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, and wow, I love that drawing.
Oh,
You're
thank you.
really good at it. You keep doing it. It's
Yes.
awesome. What advice would you give to other women who feel overwhelmed by life challenges but want to find their footing again? What would you
Mhm.
say to someone who's probably going through the end of a business or starting a new
Mhm.
one or ending a marriage and
Mm.
starting, what advice, being that you've been through that,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
Yeah, just take things one day at a time. And if, like I said, if you cannot get out of bed, then that's fine. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. And try to do therapy if you can, or go to a support group or something like that. Or if you have a good friend that you can talk to, write stuff down. That really helped me to kind of make sense of things when, like, the whole world was crashing down and my life was just a rubbish dump of burning garbage, basically. That helped me to really see light at the end of the tunnel and just take it one step at a time. Try to make plans for the future. That also really helped me to kind of get going and do a lot of introspection. I was Because I felt like, okay, I lost my identity. I'm no longer mother. I'm no longer nothing. So then I decided to think, okay, so what do I actually like? What brings me joy? What gives me purpose? What makes me happy? Because I always focus on other people. So first it was my parents, then it was my husband, then it was my daughter. So I never really took the time to understand what it is that I like and what it is that I need. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you need to set up boundaries with people, um, so you can focus on what you want to do and what brings you joy and what is good for you and what works for you, rather than always trying to make other people happy.
Yes, that is true. So the name of the podcast is Independent Woman with Wine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you what the reason why I chose that name. I have always been independent. I've been work since I was 14, and since I was 17. Since I was 17, I was the main breadwinner in my house, like I
Oh,
made
wow.
more money than my mom, and I had two young sisters. But I never saw myself as independent. I moved
Mm-hmm.
to America, being independent, but never saw myself as independent. Then
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, after I got married, that's when I realized, because that was something that I always thought I needed a man in my life to
Mm-hmm.
do that for me. I had a husband, and I found myself in a situation
Mm-hmm.
where he could not help me. And I
Yes.
always thought it was a situation where I needed a man, and then I went on that situation and I took care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Since that day, I'm like, I am an independent. I always saw myself as not being independent,
Yeah.
but I had that realization about a year and a half ago or so. I was actually independent of that. It's not that I don't need anyone in my life, but
Mm-hmm.
I know if I'm in a situation where I don't have anyone to help me, I know I can overcome, you know?
Yes, exactly.
So, my question for you is, what does being an independent woman mean to you now compared to when you first started your journey?
Well, yeah, like I said, I was always focused on what other people wanted and how other people saw me. So, um, when I was going through my separation, I listened to a lot of RuPaul, and I felt that RuPaul was such an inspiration, because all of these people that go onto the RuPaul show have a lot of things to overcome, by people telling them they're not good enough and people making fun of them. Um, and RuPaul also has a lot of songs. So there's this one song, and the chorus goes, uh, no matter what you do, just keep going, just keep soaring. Um, don't worry about what other people think of you. Don't listen to them. If they're not paying your bills, pay them no mind. Um, and yeah, at least no matter what you do, as at least you're on your way.
Hmm.
And that really helped me to get through it. Like, yeah, I'm on my way, I'm going to get there, even if it kills me. So that's what you just need to keep doing. Just keep going, one day at a time. Try to have your tribe, your support network that can help you,
Yeah.
that can help you cry and laugh, and yeah, just do the best you can. Try not to be too hard on yourself when you can't.
When you say like support, what kind of support do you have for yourself these days? Do you have a group of friends that that you go to when you
Mhm.
need? What kind of support do you have when you need a pick me up, or you who do you call when you need someone to tell you, "Hey, you're a tough bitch. Look where you are." Because sometimes we need that to hear that from
Yeah,
someone
exactly.
else, you know? Because we
Yeah.
might know that about ourselves, but
Mhm.
it's hard to tell that to ourselves. So, who do you call that's going to call, you know what, you're a tough bitch, look where you are, do not let anybody tell you otherwise, blah, blah, blah. Who is there? Who who is there for you to do that for you?
Well, I have a few very close friends. When I came back to the Netherlands, I basically realized that my family were never going to be there for me. They just think about things differently than I do. So I decided to break with them. So I'm no longer in touch with my family, but I have some really good friends. And now I have a new man in my life that he's also an entrepreneur. So he's very supportive. And he's like, yeah, I'm here for you. I'll help you through it. And especially that one friend that helped me to uh, start therapy is was really good for me at the time to give me that push to work on myself and to get better. So yeah, I have a couple of very important people in my life who are always there for me. And of course my daughter is there, so whenever I see her I feel super happy,
I'm
and whenever
sure
I have a chance to talk to her.
I'm sure just hearing her voice or seeing her little face, it's already enough
Yeah, exactly,
to change your
brightens up my
mood,
day.
right?
Yeah.
But this is so great. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I am so honored that you took the time to meet, online with me and doing this talk. And I know it's kind of late for you because you're like 6 hours ahead of
Yes.
me. Thank you so much.
My
Do you
pleasure.
want to leave any message for anyone who's going to listen to this?
Yeah, just keep going. You're amazing. You can make it through just one day at a time, and then you will persevere and you are able to do whatever needs to be done. So,
Do you
yeah,
want do you
keep
want to
working.
leave your contact for because I would love to go to Japan and I am
Yeah.
loving that I already know somebody who has a tour company, you know?
Yes,
So do you
exactly.
want to leave a contact for whoever
Oh,
listens
yeah.
that they're planning to go to Japan and that's one thing that they have to not do to one last thing to think about it. I already have my tour company that's going to help me in Tokyo or whatever, so you want to
Yeah,
leave
exactly.
contact info for whoever's listening.
Yeah, you can reach me on my. I have two websites, www.tokyotours.com and .nl. So that's spelled the Dutch way. So it's Tokyo not with a Y, but with the I. So TOKIO tours, Tokyo Tours.com or .nl. And on all social media platforms, you can find me under at Tokyo Tours Or you can follow me on Instagram under Nikki, NICKI_Amsterdam.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. You okay with this going to Apple Podcast, Spotify,
Yes,
YouTube, right? Great.
yes, of course. I would love that.
Thank you so much. I am so honored that you took the time to do this with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we're gonna keep in touch.
Yes, for sure.